Good morning. Are you measuring other people with your yardstick? Are you bringing people to your level or dragging them down to your level so you can measure them with your yardstick? What do I mean by that? Well, I just had a gentleman yesterday who was clearly suffering in the construction industry. He ran a company, and obviously he had to close his company, and he asked me for my fax number so he can fax his resume. Um, I had another gentleman last week who was getting really frustrated because he didn't know how to use Zoom for video conferencing. So obviously he's not using the right tools in business these days. And he was getting upset with me because I didn't want to jump on a call. And he felt phone calls are just as good as doing a presentation on Zoom. So I just had another conversation go sideways, this time with a consultant who um, asked me for my website and why didn't I have website information. And obviously he doesn't use LinkedIn because he had about 120 connections or something. And obviously he doesn't use LinkedIn to create deep, meaningful relationships. And obviously he used his website to do that for him, and he expects me to jump down to his level and use a reactive product like websites. Websites were great 20 years ago, but websites are no longer proactive. If you're waiting for someone to do a search and go to your website, and I get so many people saying, well, Leo, have a look at my website. Leo, have have a look at this, especially Chinese uh, export companies. Have a look at my product, have a look at my blog, have a look at this, have a look at that. And they expect a website or their blog to do the selling for them. They expect their website to build a relationship for them. I guess most people don't understand that business is conducted today based on, you know, doing business with people you trust and building a relationship first before you even try to sell your product. So if they believe that, then they're going to be looking for that in other people. I mean, he just couldn't comprehend that, you know, websites are reactive, and we don't believe in being reactive. We believe in creating relationships before they need the actual product or service that my clients are offering. He had a hard time with that. He couldn't believe that anyone could do business that way. And that explains why he only had about 120 connections on his LinkedIn profile, and he probably only had one LinkedIn profile. So I guess the question is, are you measuring other people based on your own biases, your own expectations, your own blind side? Because we're all blind to one extent or another. There's a lot of things we don't know that we don't know. So how are we measuring other people based on our shortcomings? I think we all do that. I'm sure I do that as well. And this is why I try to surround myself with as many advisors as possible. And I have as many as many conversations as I can with salespeople. A lot of people shy away from salespeople because they're afraid they might be sold something. I mean, how insecure is that? Salespeople, in a lot of cases, are selling cutting edge technology. And if you're not exposed to that, if you don't read a lot, if you don't read a lot of tech magazines, if you don't do a lot of reading in terms of technical tools or business tools or business strategies, if you're not reading a lot of that, if you're not on the cutting edge, and you don't allow yourself to speak with salespeople because you're afraid of being sold, then how are you getting an infusion of fresh ideas into your company? How do you know your ideas are not 20 years old, like that gentleman I spoke with a few minutes ago, right? How do you know you're not using old world thinking and everybody else is miles or years ahead of you, right? And this gentleman, again, didn't understand what Zoom was and how to create relationships um, in, in a virus environment. As an example, and our last phone conversation with that gentleman went extremely well. Then it went sideways because he was looking for the expectations to be where he does business. And if they were up here and they said, well, that doesn't make sense. That, that's freaky. That, that can't be. And I said, do you realize there's a lot of reviews on my LinkedIn profile, even though we sign non-disclosure agreements with every client, they still feel obligated or feel the need to write a review? No, no, he doesn't. It doesn't. I guess that wasn't a thought that naturally occurred to him. So if you're not proactive in building a relationship, if you're not, let's say you're a contractor, if you're not building relationships with the interior designers that are still in school, then you're not being proactive. You're not seeing your business 5, 10, or 15 years down the road, right? Because interior designers for a contractor are going to be your greatest source of leads. If you're not building relationships with real estate agents while they're still going through the training and have no business yet, then you're not helping them. You're not helping the interior designer. You're not helping the architect who still has a job working for someone else. And you're not helping him or encouraging him to go off on his own and build his own business, build his own practice. And if you're the person who does that, then he's going to respect you more than anyone else for giving him the opportunity and teaching him how to start his own business or his own architectural practice. And he's going to be loyal to you forever. So if you're not building those relationships before you need them, if you're not truly, truly helping people start your business or find a better job or whatever it is, if you're only focusing on your product, then you're losing a great deal of business. As an example, most of our clients wrote more contracts through the virus ordeal than they had in the previous 90 days. So in 60 days, they wrote more contracts inside the virus than they had in the previous 90 days by using some of these strategies. So the question is, and please think about this, are you using the best strategies? Do you have the best advisors? And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I have rich friends, I have rich people, very successful people that I talk to about my business. No, those are not advisors. Having an odd communication, having an odd conversation about this or that and what should I do, if they're not looking at your financials, if they don't know your people on an intimate level, then they don't know your business. They don't know how you make decisions, okay? So they're not advisors. So I would love to hear your questions, comments below. Are you measuring other people based on your own blindsidedness, if that's a word? Are you measuring other people based on your own expectations, your own yardstick? Would love to hear your questions, comments below. Talk soon.